Woman of destiny, you are not here by accident. You didn't stumble into this message. You were summoned by the King of Kings, who wrote your name in eternity before time touched the earth. There is a cry within you that even you can't explain, a stirring that keeps you up at night, a whisper in your spirit that says, there is more. That's not your imagination. That's the echo of heaven calling you into divine alignment. You see these signs not because you are weak, but because you are marked. You feel unseen, but let me speak truth into your spirit. Heaven sees you. God has had his eye on you since the day you were formed in your mother's womb. The rejection you felt was not punishment, it was protection. The doors that slammed in your face were not denial. They were divine detours, redirecting you to your purpose. Your tears have not been wasted, not one. They have watered the soil of your future. God uses brokenness not to destroy you, but to rebuild you with eternal material. You've been called to more because you are made of more. That ache you feel when people gossip and you remain silent, that's not passivity, that's restraint, born from maturity. That longing to love deeper even when others betray you, that's the fingerprint of God on your heart. That restlessness you feel in ordinary places, that's because your spirit was born to walk in extraordinary dimensions. You are not like them. Stop trying to fit in when you were born to be set apart. Sure, and carry a kingdom within you. And that kingdom does not shrink for culture, trends, or approval. You are not called to impress. You are called to impact. God is raising you in silence, building you in obscurity, because public promotion without private preparation is dangerous. You're not hidden because you're forgotten. You're hidden because you are being formed. When others rush ahead, he is telling you to wait. Why? Because oil takes time to press. Diamonds require darkness. And queens are not born. They are forged. Your life is not random. You were assigned to this generation. You carry answers to problems others haven't even recognized yet. That's why your battles are heavier. That's why your walk is lonelier. That's why your discernment is sharper. Because you are a forerunner. You are the blueprint. God is downloading vision into you, not for your comfort, but for his kingdom. You were not saved to sit. You were saved to stand, to intercede, to govern, to release heaven into earth. So don't apologize for your sensitivity. It's your weapon. Don't apologize for your standards. They are your spiritual boundaries. Don't apologize for being intense. You were never meant to be lukewarm. The pain you've endured was not in vain. It was the womb of your power. And now, yes, now God is awakening the warrior, the mother, the prophet, the intercessor, the builder, the vessel in you. This is your season of awakening. Don't go back to what was. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't delay your obedience for the approval of people who were never sent to affirm you. There are moments in your life when you feel invisible, like you are standing in a crowded room, screaming in silence, yet no one hears you. You serve, you give, you love, and yet it seems like no one notices. You pray with tears, but the answers feel delayed. You carry burdens quietly, show up faithfully, and pour into others while your own cup feels empty. The sense of being unseen can make you question your worth, your role, even your calling. But let me tell you the truth. Heaven sees you. God is not blind to your sacrifices, your struggles, or your obedience when no one is watching. In fact, it is in those hidden places where God does his deepest work. When you feel unseen by people, you are being seen most clearly by the one who matters. God is watching how you respond when you're overlooked, how you carry yourself when there is no applause, how you continue to sow seeds even when there's no immediate harvest. That's where character is forged. That's where purity is refined. He is measuring your faithfulness in the shadows before he releases you into the light. You are not being ignored. You are being observed, recorded, and remembered in heaven's archives. In the kingdom, visibility doesn't equal value. Some of God's greatest vessels were shaped in silence. Joseph was favored in dreams, but forgotten in prison. David was anointed in private before crowned in public. The hidden seasons are not empty seasons. They are divine incubators. So when it feels like no one sees your effort, your love, your pain, understand this. God sees. He sees what they don't. He knows what you carry, and he's preparing to reveal what he has always seen in you. There is a depth to your compassion that defies logic. You feel what others dismiss. You weep over things most people walk past. You notice pain in silence, and you love even when it costs you. This is not weakness. It is divine sensitivity. God has placed within you a heart that mirrors his own, a heart that breaks for the broken, that intercedes for the forgotten, that forgives without being asked, and that keeps giving even after being wounded. The world doesn't understand this kind of compassion because it's not natural. It's spiritual. It's the kind of love that flows from a soul anchored in heaven's agenda. Your compassion has made you a safe place for others, even when you needed safety yourself. You've shown mercy where there should have been revenge. You've held back judgment when you had every right to release it. That is not emotional fragility. That is spiritual maturity. God has trusted you with this depth of compassion because he knows it is through your heart that he will heal others. You carry the oil of comfort, the balm of grace, the hands of restoration. But because of this, you often carry weight others never see. Many won't understand why you care so much. They'll call it being too emotional, too intense, or too soft. But heaven calls it chosen. You are wired this way because you were born to stand in the gap. Your tears are intercessions. Your hugs are ministry. Your presence is a healing space. What others call sensitivity, God calls strength under submission. Don't harden your heart to fit in. Don't mute your compassion to survive. God gave you this heart not to endure the world, but to transform it one act of divine love at a time. When doors begin to close all around you, it can feel like rejection. It can seem like failure. You question if you missed God's voice, if you made a wrong turn, or if you're being punished. But in the realm of the kingdom, closed doors are not the absence of God's presence. They are often the evidence of his protection. Every door that shuts is a conversation between heaven and your destiny. You may not hear the words, but you're living the answer. God is not shutting you out. He's shutting you in, into alignment, into clarity, into purpose. Closed doors are God's way of keeping you from settling for something beneath your assignment. When you try to hold on to something he's finished with, he will lovingly remove it, even if it breaks your heart. That relationship, that opportunity, that path you were pursuing, it looked promising, but God saw what you couldn't see. He saw the future. He saw the hidden motives. He saw the distractions. And in mercy, not anger, he closed the door. You must understand that divine restriction is not divine rejection. It is redirection. You are not losing opportunities. You are being refined for the right ones. God only shuts doors when the next season requires a different version of you. Sometimes things have to fall apart, so you stop relying on them and start relying on him. He is pruning your path, not to make life harder, but to make your life holy. When doors close, don't fight to reopen them. Don't chase what God has removed. Stand still. Worship. Listen. Trust. Because the door that is closing is not the end. It's the womb of your next beginning. And when the right door opens, you'll understand why every other one had to shut. There comes a time in your spiritual journey when shallow no longer satisfies. You sit in rooms full of noise, yet feel empty. You engage in conversations, but they leave you drained. Laughter surrounds you, but your spirit remains untouched. This is not arrogance or antisocial behavior. This is evidence that your spirit is evolving. You're no longer drawn to the surface because you've tasted the deep. God is calling you higher, and with that call comes a shift in appetite. You are losing interest in what once entertained you because your soul is craving what edifies you. You begin to notice that gossip grieves you. Small talk exhausts you. Pretending feels like betrayal. It's not that you're better than others. It's that your heart has outgrown what no longer aligns with your purpose. You're not just looking for company. You're looking for covenant. You want connection that stretches you, challenges you, convicts you, and awakens purpose inside you. You're seeking voices that carry fire, not flattery. Environments that stir your calling, not silence it. This change is divine. It's proof that God is transitioning you. You're being groomed for influence, and influence demands depth. You can't carry kingdom assignments while entertaining empty circles. You can't speak life while surrounding yourself with spiritual noise. So he begins to disconnect you from the surface to introduce you to the sacred. Let them call you distant. Let them say you've changed. They're right. You have. You're becoming who you were always meant to be. And though it feels lonely at times, this detachment is sacred. You are being positioned for divine relationships, strategic alliances, and supernatural conversations. You're not walking away from people. You're walking toward your purpose. And what God is preparing you for requires depth that only destiny-driven connections can sustain. There is a war behind your smile that few will ever recognize. You show up, you serve, you lead, and you love, yet no one sees the private pain you carry. Behind your strength is a storm. Behind your kindness is a cry for relief. You're fighting battles in the spirit while functioning in the natural. You wipe tears in silence and then walk out the world as if nothing is wrong. Not because you're pretending, but because you've learned how to war in the secret place.
God has entrusted you with a fight that is not public, because the victory will carry eternal weight. You are not weak. You are chosen. Chosen to break cycles. Chosen to confront generational patterns. Chosen to stand in the gap for others who do not yet have the strength to stand for themselves. That kind of battle is lonely. It's heavy. It's exhausting. But it's holy.
Heaven sees what you're carrying. God sees the nights you cry and still pray. The mornings you wake up weary but still declare, God, I trust you. He sees how you battle depression, doubt, anxiety, fear, and still choose to walk by faith. That is not failure. That is faith in its rawest, most powerful form. Some battles were never meant to be shared. They were designed to birth something sacred between you and God. What you are fighting is not just for today. It's for your children, your children's children, and for every person connected to your purpose. You are not just surviving. You are advancing the kingdom in unseen ways. Every time you worship through the warfare, every time you declare truth over lies, you are pushing darkness back. So don't let the silence fool you. Just because no one sees the battle doesn't mean it's not real. And just because they don't understand it doesn't mean God hasn't already declared you victorious. There's something different about the way you perceive people. You don't just hear their words. You feel the weight behind them. You don't just see their actions. You discern their intentions. God has given you spiritual X-ray vision, not to judge, but to protect. You see through the masks, the performances, the polished exteriors. You recognize pain hidden behind pride, fear disguised as confidence, and manipulation cloaked in charm. This is not suspicion, it's discernment. And it's one of the most sacred yet burdensome gifts a person can carry. You often feel things before they manifest. You sense shifts in atmosphere that others ignore. You pick up on spiritual warfare in casual conversations. And because of this, you found it hard to connect with people who live only on the surface. You're not trying to be distant. You're simply walking in a depth they haven't encountered yet. God has opened your eyes to things others are not yet ready to see, because your calling requires clarity. You're not just called to interact, you're called to intercede. Sometimes this gift leaves you misunderstood. People think you're too intense, too deep, or too quiet. But they don't understand that while they're speaking, you're listening to what they're not saying. You're discerning what's behind the smile. You're praying in the spirit while nodding in the natural. You carry the responsibility of insight, and that can feel lonely, but it is holy. God has trained your eyes to recognize wolves in sheep's clothing, to guard the gates of your heart, and to cover others even when they don't know they're exposed. You are not cynical. You are not paranoid. You are anointed. Your discernment is not a curse. It is a calling. And in a world full of illusions, your ability to see truth is a weapon of righteousness. Use it wisely and never apologize for it. There is a restlessness in your spirit that you can't quite explain. You go through the motions, do what's expected, and fulfill your daily responsibilities, but deep down something stirs a holy discontent, a divine uneasiness. You are grateful, but not satisfied. You are present, but not fully settled. That's not ingratitude. It's divine agitation. It's heaven awakening the dormant greatness within you. What once excited you now feels too small. What once felt like enough now feels like confinement. You look around and wonder why the routine that comforts others now feels like a cage to you. It's because God is expanding your capacity. He's stretching your spirit to fit your next dimension. You weren't created to merely survive. You were born to disrupt, to build, to lead, to transform. The ordinary will never satisfy a soul that has tasted purpose. But you don't fit in because you were never meant to. You're not here to blend into culture. You're here to shift it. This discontent is sacred. It's God's way of pulling you out of complacency and into calling. The tension you feel is the sound of destiny knocking. The frustration is not the enemy. It's the evidence that you're ready for more. People around you may not understand it. They may say, you should be happy with what you have, but they don't hear what you hear in the quiet. They don't feel what you feel when you try to settle. God is calling you higher. And the higher you go, the more ordinary things lose their grip. You are never meant to be comfortable in small spaces. You carry too much vision, too much purpose, too much kingdom fire to live confined. That discontent you feel is not a problem to fix. It's a signal, a divine summons, a holy invitation to step into the extraordinary life you were created to lead. Woman of purpose, you are not imagining the weight you carry. You are not broken. You are being built. Every closed door, every silent battle, every moment of isolation is heaven's confirmation that you are marked, set apart, and divinely positioned. You were never meant to live a common life. The reason you feel different is because you are. The reason you feel called out is because you've been called up. You are heaven's strategy wrapped in human form. The Spirit of God has placed within you discernment to see what others overlook, compassion to love what others reject, and fire to rise when others fall. This is not the time to shrink. This is the time to stand. Your life is not random. It's a response to a divine problem. Only your existence can solve. You are not behind. You are in divine timing. You are not forgotten. You are hidden for the right moment. And you are not fighting alone. The host of heaven is backing your every step. So walk boldly, pray fiercely, love deeply, and never apologize for the anointing you carry. God's message for you is clear. You were created for more. Not comfort, not convenience, but kingdom impact. Don't chase normal. Pursue purpose. The world may never understand you, but all of heaven rejoices over you. Step forward. Your time is not coming. It's here.